And I believe we are live. Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, 4 nerds, by nerds, hang out with these nerds.
Nathan Nerdark.
Ted.
Marcus Ryan, coming to you live from an undisclosed bunker in southern New Jersey. Here we go.
So we had mentioned this in this fantasy giveaway that we wanted to start this new segment that we do weekly and we do live. I don't know if we'll always be able to do it where we all get together, or the time might change to a little bit later in the afternoon on Saturday. But right now, that is our objective. We are calling it Nerdarchy's Quests and Adventures.
Yeah, yep. So this way we can fold in a little bit of Q&A, maybe stuff that comes through that's not quite enough content to do a full-fledged video on, but maybe it's enough that we can just fire off 3 or 4 of them at a shot, and then also kind of fold in the weekly wrap-up.
Right, and I'd like to say hello to Embershade Innkeeper, John Martin, Gillifrey 10011,
001, Binary Breakdown, 0012,
Keith Smith, Harrison Mooney, X Arkin, Dan Estep. You guys are awesome for showing up on such short notice.
Early arrival crew, check in.
So, as always, when we do our weekly wraps, we always put our links to all the stuff down below. So if you want to support Nerdarchy, there's a whole bunch of ways to do it down there. There's links to RPG related Kickstarters, as well as all the articles on nerdarchy.com, and links to all the videos for our YouTube channel.
I mean, the website is Wordicles for Nerdicles. So, and also too, I should point out that we started doing a thing with the channel page. Like if you go to the Nerdarchy main YouTube channel, they're like all those links off to the side are like things that you could support Nerdarchy. So if you get stuff from Drive-Thru RPG, you can if you click through there first, your purchase was a small portion of it will support Nerdarchy, or even there's an Amazon link. Correct. So this way, if you click through there before you shop at Amazon, we could earn a small commission on, if you buy that flat screen TV or a mech.
Every little bit helps. Also, along that vein, we did our first sponsored review for Triniton. It's a pretty cool game. The concept's interesting. Guys, we'd really appreciate it if you went and either checked out the article, watched the video, whatever, look at it, give some feedback. If it's not your cup of tea, no problem. Don't worry about having to purchase anything. But what we would appreciate, if you want to support the channel, when we do stuff that is sponsored, just go check it out. Throw a like on it, share it. Maybe one of your friends will be into it. We're going to try and give honest reviews, the good, the bad, the ugly.
We will give honest reviews.
Well, yeah, we will give honest reviews. Some things we might just pass on because we just don't feel like it's a good fit for our audience. Does that cover it?
Yeah, I think that covers it. But yeah, we'll be always blunt about the disclosure of saying sponsored on it, because I think it's only right. Check
out the video, check out the article. It's a great game, and you can take some of the stuff that's in there and pour it into other RPGs, which is why I think it's such a fantastic product.
Crickets, chirp, chirp, chirp.
So I'm going to give a shout out to Ty Johnson, our now new content manager for the website. He took things over on Wednesday, and I think he's doing a bang up job. We've actually managed to figure out the bumps and the issues,
the hurdles.
Yeah. And we've managed.
Well, I did notice we had a special edition, early and late double feature Friday.
We did
for articles on the website.
Well, because we had an extra post for the lovely people over at Triniton. So both the Thursday and the Friday authors were like, well, I still want to get my post out. So what's going to wind up happening? So
did they combine and form Voltron?
There was no combining and forming.
No blazing sword.
No blazing swords.
Yeah. So do we have any quests and adventures or Q&A, as we might put it?
We got people chatting over there, but they're not asking questions.
What about stuff that was pulled from various sources?
Well, we do have some things. This is it's a bit off topic, but do you guys play with the flanking rules, or what variant rules do you play with?
So this is from Devorlo. Like,
for instance, right now, both me and Ted flank Nate, and we could be ganking.
No, the advantage, the shared advantage.
Yeah, I mean, and the shared advantage makes those new fighter archetypes from the Unearthed Arcana substantially better, because you can trade in that advantage for an extra swing on Nate if you want.
Yes, you absolutely could.
Yeah.
We have not played with we have not used the flanking rules.
Yeah.
I like the idea that flanking gets you some advantage, because coming from LARPs, Ted and I think can both agree at 2 versus 1. It's a
It's
tough
challenging.
spot to be in, being that one.
Yeah, the really tough part about 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons is the lack of gradation in a lot of the mechanics.
Mhm.
But at the same time, when you start putting that in there, you get back to Pathfinder or 3rd edition,
Yeah.
where you have the endless pluses.
Right. Well, the situation is combat is fluid, and while when you do play with minis, things are very static. Like, okay, I get to this position and I'm going to stay here until that guy drops. When there is usually circling and moving and this and that, so you're trying to stop those flanking situations from happening, and even try to prevent it. And in the times that I've done the longsword, when they see the 2-on-1s, you do have to try and maneuver so that it doesn't wind up happening.
But I think just having your attention split, like flanking, is just like the idea of if 2 foes or more are within 5 feet of you,
Mhm.
your attention's split, and therefore, if not an advantage, like maybe +2 to attack. So we did have micro bonuses in, say, a Pathfinder or 3rd edition situation, but now a +1 or +2 is significant because because all the bonuses are smaller and the armor classes are way lower.
Well, and so the other problem, as I see it, is if you give advantage for
Flanking.
flanking, you can only get advantage once, right? So it pretty much is going to eliminate advantage on a lot of other circumstances that can come up in the game.
Right.
So that part is kind of tough. It makes it if you put too many rules in to give advantage, it becomes less special
Yeah.
when you do get it.
But the step down would be a +2 because advantage works out to be a net of like a ±5, something like that.
Right.
It's advantage, disadvantage. It's either +5,
Yeah, it's
or
+5.
+6. Yeah, like it's not an exact science, but
Right.
Yeah. The net
Now,
of it all.
like there are some games that I've played in where 2 players built their characters together. They've designed it that they fight together, and they always, whoever rolls higher on initiative always drops his initiative to the lower of the 2, and they always act together. So it was one of those things that they discussed with the DM. Oh, well, can we do this? And they had essentially special things built so that they work together.
That's like they've made their backgrounds and their characters so that they have pack tactics.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, holy shit. I think it was like your dummy or something like that, or dummy or like there's a person with a
Sounds familiar.
username.
I thought you were calling me a dummy.
Yeah.
Like, what did
Well,
I do?
not this time. But so he's a frequent commenter, and brought up the clarification that a rogue can sneak attack multiple times in the same combat round. There's once on a given turn, right? So if you have a battle master using its commander strike ability to give the rogue another attack, and someone else is within 5 feet of the same enemy, which gives the rogue again sneak attack. That means you could get the rogue sneak attacking, twice in the same round, and maybe other circumstances like drawing an attack of opportunity, and there's still an ally nearby. Again, you could have a situation where there's sneak attacking 3 times in a round, and that's just devastating.
I'd have to
yeah.
look at the mechanics on that just to see, because it seems like the fighter unearthed kind of broke down round and turn things a little wonkily. I'd have to
Not really. Know what it is. It's one of those rules.
Ted, just
that
read
we
read the comment section of that video, and you'll have it clarified 60 times over by 60 different comments.
Yes.
It comes
Yeah.
down to, we read the player's handbook, and you're like, okay, everyone gets to act in the round on their turn, right?
Right.
And that's a round consists of everybody's turn. It is pretty simple, but like 2-3 years ago, we read that and then like discarded the information because it doesn't actually come up that often.
Right.
The rogue sneak attack thing does come up, and I actually knew that from either Sage Advice or one of the other things,
Okay.
that you could get numerous sneak attacks in a turn, but only once on your
round.
No,
Or
numerous in a
vice
round.
versa, yeah.
Yeah. The other way around.
the other way around. But I will clarify for us and anyone really that's been playing this game since 1st edition or after, the terms round and turn have been used often, and
In
they
the
don't
opposite
no,
context.
they don't even mean the same thing. Not even that. Up until 3rd edition, a turn consisted of 10 rounds.
Right.
It was 1 minute. It was a 1 minute increment.
Right.
So like, I know some people brought up, well, this is how it always works in board games, except for, we come from a background of playing Dungeons and Dragons, where they didn't use it that way.
Uh-huh.
So, you know,
There's lovely
I-
Gygaxisms, probably.
yeah, so that information gets mixed up. So there is actually a bunch of questions on here now. And, you know, everything from, you know, what's our favorite setting to play in, whether it's, you know, Eberron, Forgotten Realms, Greyhawk, or Homebrew, to what class from
Homebrew is not a logical option because Homebrew is everyone's child, right? Who says that they hate their own child? Well, maybe Via children. But
So like we do tend to play in our own homebrew setting. So I think for most of us that's where we would go. But there is definitely some love for Eberron, Dark Sun. Is there anything else that?
well,
that-
I will like to say
Planescape.
that was Gallifrey 10-0-0-11-
you could just say Gallifrey.
00:-2.
You could just say Gallifrey. You don't have to.
I
read.
could, but it's not nearly as fun.
but you already did.
So for me, I'd say it goes Dark Sun, Ravenloft, and Spelljammer. That's like my top three.
Ravenloft's pretty up high.
Excluding Homebrew, because again, I mean, you get to make whatever you feel like in Homebrew. So it's, you know.
Yeah, I would take Greyhawk and Forgotten Realms and burn them with fire, because I find them so generic and boring. For me, Eberron is probably my favorite setting, and then followed by like Dark Sun or Ravenloft. Things that are really thematic and make me go, okay, if I'm going to play generic, I might as well just play Homebrew.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like that's the thing. When you have something that's heavily themed, it's about what's not there that actually makes the campaign setting distinct. You know, like it's very like a narrow set of concerns. It makes a really good campaign setting when that's, you know, all that thing cares about.
We also have X Arkin listening while he's playing some Star Wars Battlefront.
Nice.
Rock on.
So we had a question from Jake Morris. They want to know what are the Unearthed Arcanas official? And it says right there in the PDFs that they're playtests. So feel free to use them as much as you want in your home games, but they're not good for Adventure League.
Yeah, and then also too with that, they after everyone comes out, when the next one comes out, they offer up a survey of what you thought the problems were. So if you do test something out, then and you see actual problems, commenting on those surveys is like a really good thing to do for the
Off
community.
camera, I would happen to have it within reach the Druid one,
Yeah.
and it says playtest material right here. So in this little block,
Sidebar.
it says the material here is presented for playtesting and is to spark your imaginations. These game mechanics are in draft form, usable in your campaign, but not fully tempered by design iterations. They are not officially part of the game. For these reasons, material in this column is not legal in D&D Adventure League events. And they put that in every single one.
Yeah. So that'll if you didn't know, well now you know, gamer.
And knowing that
So
that's
I
bad.
recently saw a Sage Advice tweet from Jeremy Crawford, and he responded to someone going, "Hey, you know, in the fighter edition, it seemed like the fighter on Earth Arcana has seen a lot of the martial classes were front loaded." And his explanation was when we decide we're going to try out something different, it goes into the Unearthed Arcana. So it might be for instance, they might be like, okay, we're trying out front loading an archetype or something other mechanic they want to work out, and they'll use it in that batch of Unearthed Arcana.
Yeah.
And then, like Ryan said, they'll go back and they'll look at the surveys and see what people thought, and then they'll shift it from there.
And I feel like the most multi-classable classes in this edition of Dungeons and Dragons are the fighter and the rogue, just because of the number of feats they get and things like that. Like they're the classes, if you're going to grab 4 to 8 levels of something, they're probably the ones you're going to run in and grab something to create a very specific and special sort of build character.
Well, yeah, if you want a more lith and dex-based character that has an ability to, rather than hitting hard, they know where to hit hard. That kind of archetype's a different type of fighter.
A master swordsman who fights with finesse as opposed to brute strength. So you dip into rogue to be able to get like the swashbuckler class, and maybe you take the duelist feat, so you get to add your proficiency modifier to your armor class and things like that.
Yeah, and let's say you're not interested in attaining the higher levels in what makes a thief, then you can just make a more fightery but dexterous character. And I think I like the multi-classing because you get to mix and match stuff that if you don't fall within the archetype framework,
Right.
What you have an archetype you want to play that's not present, you can kind of
Yeah.
put it together.
I feel like most things in fictions are like a la carte from different, class ideas, and then it forms that unique character has the suite of abilities. Now, Boris Stremlin will argue with me back and forth on that one.
Don't argue with him. He's just going to make you feel stupid.
Yeah, I think it's Boris that usually goes that route. That we firmly disagree on that end.
So we got a bunch of stuff coming in here. I don't want to say we have favorites, but Kyle S has dropped a comment, and
Hey, Kyle.
hey Kyle, we've actually gotten to hung out with Kyle and have lunch with him a couple times.
I will get back in touch with your email. Things have been rough around here. I've been sick, as you can probably tell from my voice.
But Kyle S, how would you guys create stories for Chuckle Fox?
I would make the adventure as absurd as the people that are playing it. Like, maybe the adventure is like literally their cask of ale got stolen by brigands and they're on a mission to bring it back. Or like the story of John Wick, where like he murders a bunch of people because they killed his dog. Like, kind of try to out absurd the people that are playing the adventure. I feel like is the most reasonable.
If people are going to be Chuckle Fox with me, I'm not even going to prepare material. Do what you want, and I'll just respond. That's the only way I can do that.
I would go with the rule, if it could be a Monty Python sketch, then it could be good.
I like those. Yeah,
that's a good one.
I like all those. It's also fairy tale-ish would kind of work as well. Maybe even on the Disney side, but adulterized depending on
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, there you go. Depending on what level of maturity you're looking for. Let's see.
So Alec Coe says, couldn't trap making also fall under tinkering? There's a comment under the best skills video.
Okay.
So when it comes to the tool proficiencies, this is one of those things that
the tool proficiencies, they basically looked at us and shrugged. Like, I don't know.
There's some areas of overlap and gradation, and it's really going to be what your GM is going to let you get away with, because they don't have firm breakdowns. They don't even say
the DCs to do various tasks, or what skill,
the DC, what stat modifier is appropriate. So there is times where disarming a trap, I feel it's going to be dex because it's point precision. Other times it might fall under intelligence.
Can I just disarm a trap with my charming personality?
No.
Depends if it's
maybe magical. Is it a magical trap?
Yeah, is it a Sphinx space trap?
Yeah.
So realistically, it's really going to be your specific DM's call as to what that's going to fall under.
If you are the DM, though, this is how I would handle it. If you have Tinker's tools or Thieves tools, I would absolutely allow you to make a trap. But if you actually have trap making tools, I would make it easier for you to make the trap, and you would technically be better at it. So your DCs would be lower. And that being said, as well, I might have introduced my own gradation system where a Tinker is going to be the least proficient in doing it. Thieves tools more so because you're used to disarming them, so you might have a better idea how they operate. You can reverse engineer. But if you're actually a trap maker, you're really good at it. And then if you have a multitude of these proficiencies, I would then take that into account.
So if you have Thieves tools, Tinker's tools, and Trap Maker's tools proficiencies, and you're going to make a mechanical trap that's going to take account all of them, then the DC to make your trap should be lower.
I would also think about stealth and perception of how likely somebody is to know this. You know where somebody might look for a trap because you're accustomed to looking for them if you have those skills. So you're going to be better at making those seams more perfect or this or that.
Here's a pretty good one. Zephyr Wildfire.
Is that the name that you like, or is that the question that you like?
Well, the name
just question mark after it. Zephyr Wildfire.
All right, we're done with this one now.
Yeah,
I like that name. Now, his question is: in a war setting, how is a DM decide which important NPCs get delivered to iron battles away from the PCs? Whatever's fun for you as the GM, whatever tells the story you want to tell.
Yeah, as the GM, you're going to make those calls. If you feel that this schlep of an NPC, you want to elevate them in the story. They've somehow miraculously survived the fight. Awesome. And the hero of the town, well, he died. Well,
There's some other factors too, like how do your players feel about these NPCs, and what are you trying to invoke? Are you trying to rile them up and stir them to action? Well, kill that fucker. Do you want to deal a crippling emotional blow not to the character but to the players?
Yeah, there you go.
Kill that character.
Yeah.
Is that character really truly annoying to them, and you want him to stay around to keep doing that? Keep him alive.
He actually gets all the credit for saving the town.
Yeah.
Well, you could introduce either percentile chances of something happening, maybe based on somebody's strategic positioning. Like if you really wanted to leave it up to chance and fate, you could decide, okay, there's a 25% chance that this group of people is going to survive, a 50% chance this one, because of the sort of just fictional positioning of who's likely to survive, because one person has a hill and the sun's in the other faction's eyes and all these things.
Yeah, and if there's two groups and the PCs have to decide which group they're helping, well, if they like characters in both, if NPCs in both those groups, maybe there's no guarantee. Maybe they'll both survive. Maybe the one that you help, this guy still dies, in the group. So I would say there was a book, I don't remember, I'll have to check it out, but it basically, it was about airplane pilots in the war. And what happened was everybody, there was no rhyme or reason. A rookie that came in, dead. A veteran of 3 years, dead. It just didn't matter. It was to show you kind of that you're just getting crunched in the gears of war. So that kind of that book was showing that kind of idea is like anybody can die at any time.
So the
There's
Martin
really
approach,
no right.
the George R. R. Martin approach.
Well, I think he still has an idea of who he wants to have alive and dead. But that he's got a story he's telling. But at the same time, he wants you to have that illusion of there's no telling who's going to live. Yeah. So in that case, I mean, I would just say have a variety of NPCs. Some of them like, some of them they don't like, and you just start. Sometimes they get off. Sometimes everyone lives. Sometimes 3 of them die, and you're just like, come on, 3 people died. Out
I mean,
of the
maybe you
group.
get some dice that have skulls in it, like D6s or whatever, and have like a certain dice quotient.
Hero
And like
escape
you just,
dice.
yeah, basically maybe you roll 5 dice, and if like 3 out of the 5 are skulls, like, oh, that character's gonna die. Like it's just we're throwing this, and like you just preordain that they're going to die at one point, but like make the characters love them before they pass.
Well, yeah, you can do it ahead of time, so you can kind of develop stories with them, and so you have an idea. I just roll the dice and see who dies.
Yeah.
I would personally just pick and choose, but there's a ton of different ways you can do it, and it's whatever's going to fit your style best. So Secret Purple Q Ellipsis, I want to ask again, because I'm still super curious. Are there any D&D shows you guys watch or keep up with, like Critical Role or Roleplay? Now, I feel like if anybody does, it's probably going to be Nate or Ryan. Just because those tend to be really long, and because we spend so much time doing Nerdarchy as a whole, we don't have as much time to enjoy that stuff as we would like.
Yeah.
So no,
And especially we all work full-time jobs, so that's
obviously Critical Role, Hyper RPGs out there. Brian Feaster, they're playing his game right now. Last night, Matt Mercer was supposed to be making a guest appearance for.
Brian Feaster's game.
Yeah, it's not coming to me.
Open Legend.
That's it. So that would be one to check out. There's things like YogQuest. Pro Jared has done some gameplays.
Yeah.
Obviously, Critical Role and Roleplay, they are really good as well.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of Critical Role, not all of it, because there's just hours and hours of content. West Marches on Roleplay and some other sessions of things. The only thing is, I've only watched the stuff, the game systems that I'm familiar with on the Roleplay channel. So yeah, as far as that goes.
So I've only caught glimpses, bits and pieces. If you go over to Matt Click's channel, Fistful of Dice, the Provokers games going on. They're really good as well. I actually watched a bunch of those. I'm about to get onto my off season at work, so I might get caught up on more of this.
Watch some stuff.
Yeah, I'll have more time. But and then the other problem is, as much as I enjoy that stuff, it's like Netflix has got like all the CW stuff that I've been binging on. So it's like there's so many things out there.
Arrow and Flash and this.
Yeah,
Supergirl, DC Legends of Tomorrow.
There's so many things that grab your attention.
Before you know it, the Netflix is actually going to be having second seasons and third seasons and what have you
of like
their exclusive stuff,
and like Luke Cage and holy crap.
But that brings me to another point. You guys that actually take your time out of your day to watch our videos and check us out. We really appreciate it because we understand you have so many things out there that you could be watching and supporting, but you choose to be here with us. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
how do I deal with my party? They don't have a tank. Sherman or what is it?
Howitzer.
One-
Oh, that's the gun. Howitzer.
yeah.
Paladin first class.
Yeah. So, this is a question that I never really worry about. I don't actually care what my players show up to the table with. And it's absolutely up to them to figure out how they're going to deal with the challenges.
So when a group of players decide that they're going to make characters for a game, sometimes they say, well, there's all these roles, they all need to be filled, and that's just how it works. Other times you get a group of characters together and they say, well, we're gonna play what we want, and they make it work. Now, I've been in games where you don't have most of the roles and you just have fun, and it's up to you guys to deal with the challenge. There's other times the DM's like, okay, well, I'm going to give you less of a challenge because you can't handle this. So really it should be conversations, working together, using tactics, and you got to remember, sometimes you need to run away. The DM is not always going to pull punches. The DM is not always going to, be on your side. And if things look like they're going south and your character's gonna die and you don't want them to, run, go for it.
And there's also spells, and I'd say there's some spells that could make anybody a tank or at least help them out.
Well,
So there's a cleric spell that I use sometimes to keep Scott alive in Ted's game, and so warded bond. I think it splits they gain resistance to everything, and you take the same damage as them basically. Yeah. And it helps because you can be off someplace and healing yourself. But there's one time I used it and we both got dropped. So
there's so I would also say too. So wide open encounters where maneuverable characters have lots of places to go and maybe even some blocking terrain or some things to take cover behind. Those are going to be the allies to the non-tanky things, because basically non-tank characters don't want to go toe to toe with things. They want to be able to move around, give them space to move. So if you want to screw over a party and challenge them, make them have situations where like they're in tight quarters, like a 10-foot wide hallway or a small room, like a
monster you just can't get away from.
Yeah, it's a monster that outmaneuvers you. Say
Quickling.
A quickling or some sort of flyer or something like that.
But it's always going to come down to tactics. You want to think intelligently. You use the terrain to your advantage, and this goes with saying, in all encounters, but when you don't have a tank or you don't have a healer, you need to be cautious and use those hit points wisely.
Look, we got a saying in my neighborhood where I came from, and it's called "work it out." So, similar to this, Islan Falio, how should you deal with multiple people playing the same class? Example, I'm playing a Path of the Totem Barbarian, and another person is playing Path of the Berserker. Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, chances are you're not going to play your characters exactly the same. You guys are going to have different traits that you're going to portray in your role playing. Ted's dying. Sorry, guys. Not only that, though, you're probably your chances are you may have different backgrounds. You might be different races, different alignments. Hopefully the characters have different worldviews, and through the role playing, that's going to make distinctions. If you're talking about as far as encounters and combats and stuff like that, well,
you got two barbarians, bash the heck out of your opponents.
Yeah, really, you're going to gang up on stuff and hurt it bad, and your DM's going to really be able to put some big monsters in there with lots of hit points that hit hard. It just adds to the game. It's just going to give a different play experience, and really, I don't care if the whole party decides to play thieves or play fighters or whatever. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, like then with the two barbarian situation, it's like, oh, I guess as the GM, I can throw Tarrasque at you when you're like 9th to 11th level.
I don't know.
And see how this goes.
I don't know.
See how this goes.
Yeah, so as a player, it's your responsibility. Have fun with it. You find the fun in the game for you. Maybe you guys have a competitive rivalry like Gimli and Legolas, and
that'd be fantastic.
And Game of Thrones, or whatever. Maybe you guys, every time you guys go to a tavern, you absolutely have to have an arm wrestling match with each other, or all takers.
Point of reference: Stallone's Over the Top would be the way to go.
Or if it's two mages, you do Mage Ham arm wrestling from Acquisitions Inc., which is a fabulous idea.
Yeah, create that dynamic amongst all the characters where you've got that play against each other, and sometimes your similarities are going to be good for camaraderie, and sometimes it's going to be good for conflict.
There was in one of the Dritz books where the two wizards were like, hurling spells at zombies that are coming, like hordes of zombies, but they were slow shambling zombies, not fast 28 days later zombies. So they were hurling like fireballs and like other, like Melf spells. And things
So
like that.
Gilfrey chimed in with, "Don't forget mom and pop D&D channels." Now I'm guessing this has to do with the question of what do you like to watch?
Right.
Yeah, there's like a 10-second delay on the chat.
Yeah, well, I just noticed it. So that's what I'm guessing. And yeah, there's a ton of D&D channels out there, and I'm kind of wondering, are we a mom? Have we grown past mom and pop?
Look,
You say fistful of dice.
If you're under 1 million subscribers on YouTube, you're still a small channel. Like really, like maybe 500,000. Like that's pretty substantial. But until you can be measured in hundreds of thousands, like you're still a small channel. So yeah, like Andrew Armstrong and Fistful of Dice. Knapp every once in a while throwing up some crazy stuff there. Andrew Knapp. So
Fantastic Dimensions runs a lot of gameplays.
Yeah.
I mean, there is definitely a ton.
You know what? You can check out on our YouTube channel. There's a whole list of the people we're subscribed to, right? So I mean, that's a great place.
Friends
to
of
check out.
Nerdarchy. Like if you look over there, you can find
so
those
there's
as well.
just a long list of that.
But as we're taking questions and things, I'm going to throw this out there. If you're fairly new to our channel and you have questions and aren't aware that we have over 1,400 videos, there is a search feature in our specific YouTube channel, so you can actually search through those things and be able to go right to the topic of your choice, because we get a lot of GM 911s and questions here that are honestly able to be answered within the videos that we've already done. So don't be afraid to check that out.
Yeah,
it's in there.
Make
somewhere.
your will save or your wisdom save, because this older.
We don't have will saves anymore.
No, that's older editions talk.
Have we ever considered Joe Bernard? Have we ever considered? Maybe not. No, never mind. That's you guys talking to each other, which is awesome too.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
So there's a bunch of them in here.
So Grant Hall would like to know our thoughts on Dispel Magic. He finds it too powerful in this edition because he says it renders most concentration spells useless. Like if there's an enemy sorcerer or a magician.
Now I'm pretty sure with Dispel Magic though, it's 3rd level or under. Unless you cast it at a higher level, then it negates its level or lower.
Right.
And then if it's higher, you have to make a spell check. But that's what they're spending their action doing to dispel magic. So that's kind of the trade-off.
And
they could have thrown a fireball.
There's a lot of concentration spells that are decent that are low level, and you're using using a 3rd level slot to get rid of
a mate or a mirror image.
Right. Yeah,
because mirror image is a solid.
Yeah, or like a fire shield, or it's good. They're using a resource to get rid of somebody else's resource. So it basically is like, 2 fighters hitting each other and both losing hit points.
Yeah. Holy crap, man. I want to say like how much they stepped up how significant mirror image is in this edition, like how good of a spell. Because in prior editions, an area of effect spell like a fireball would just have whooshed away your mirror images. And they're taking the damage from the fireball, whether they pass their saving throw or not, unless they're a rogue. So yeah, holy crap! Like now, mirror image is just like a great spell because you're not going to get rid of it, even with an area of effect.
Well, although it doesn't automatically suck up an attack anymore either. Like you have to make a die roll.
Yeah, sure. There's random chance, but I would take that over the prior edition rendering of mirror image. So
I
Kyle Davis. Hey, Nerdarchy, what do you do with a player that's an engineer that built a death ray within game and actual physics?
Is their character a physicist or an engineer?
Yeah, that's the thing when a player is taking their real world knowledge and applying it to the game.
Unless their character's time traveled. Like that's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, even no matter how smart their character is, they probably still don't have the technology.
They only know the technology of the time.
Well, back in the day, they had this thing where they took a whole bunch of
time travel. They had time travel.
They had time travel.
Nate's going to let us know. Let us in on this.
No, they had this idea of taking a whole bunch of polished mirrors and having the sun all reflect to this one point and lighting ships on fire. The stories are a little bit different. I think Mythbusters did a thing on it. So it's not strong enough to be awesome, but if you had more engineering skill or if it was like more of a modern game, I could see that really happening. But back in the fantasy day, I mean, I would see if you develop some kind of like spell shooter or something like that, that could be just like a cool way of having a focus that does the thing, but you're still powering it with your own like scroll, like basically scroll level power.
The Souls
like,
of Orphans, gotcha. Souls of Orphans.
scrolls don't require that. So I would say if they did it still within the mechanics of the game, but I mean, there was one thing where it was like a time traveling physicist or something, and he's like, I want to make I want to make a nuke, and they're like, well, you have to have the entire industry that would be required to make the nuke in the first place, and that is not present in our current day.
Also,
We literally had that GM911.
I actually believe like it's like in the Anarchist cookbook or whatever. Like they tell you how to do it. It's very low tech, but it's something like it takes generations of people to do it because like people are dying from the plutonium poisoning or whatever.
So I always say in these kind of situations, there's a spot under the traps that's damaged by level, and you can reward their ingenuity by allowing them to do something, and that's the level that they'll put out. And as they get better at their skill and their trade, you can have them tinker with the device and make it stronger.
That's a great point, Ted.
And you get people kidnap them for their advanced technology and torture them for their ideas.
break their fingers.
How do you make these things go boom?
Yeah.
That's always a way to go as well.
Yeah, I would personally, I wouldn't encourage that player too much in that direction.
Yeah.
That's just a lot of metagaming going on.
Well, I'm saying if
My
they're-
character has an 8 intelligence and he's a fighter. Yeah, he's doing that.
And his tool proficiency is dice.
Yeah.
Nerdarchy, you guys going to hit up the Yanti Pureblood build, Arthur DeLuca. Man, we'll get to that eventually.
Yeah, it'll happen.
It'll happen. We'll do some Yanti love.
Snake love. Got to get that snake love. Yeah.
Here's one for Ryan's Lizard Folk build. Nerdarchy, would you allow a player playing Lizard Folk to add poison to its bite attack and add resistance to the race? Valor Home Kettleson.
That sounds like a great ability for monster, but not so much for players.
Yeah, that's a player just trying to overreach a little bit.
I
Like
mean,
there's no bouncing factor there.
Yeah, it's
Now,
cool. But
That being said, they do have an ability that I might allow. I don't know if I'd give them the poison immunity. You'd have to trade things out, right? So the lizard folk has an ability to kind of get healing from when it bites. So I might replace that with a poison attack.
Yeah.
But just like that ability, whether that's once a day or once a long rest, once a short rest, it would be that.
Mhm.
Like, so maybe you don't develop enough poison in your venom sacs.
And maybe it's equivalent to like basic poison, which after the comments told me and double checking the book is only a D4 poison.
it sucks.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Yeah, it's not very good.
I would make it. I would look at the Dragonborn breath weapon as my
scaling.
scaling. It could possibly be the
Reptile
same.
pun.
Yeah, it could be possibly the same or slightly better because it doesn't affect an area.
That's
But
true.
that would be one of the things. And then you could go, oh well, you want immunity to poison, okay, but you have to give something up for that.
Well, resistance. But
Well, resistance to poison. You have to give something up for that. Are you going to give up the skills, or are you going to give up the ability to make stuff? Is kind of weak in a ribbon ability, so I wouldn't use that.
Yeah.
I'll put that one on the table.
Maybe the holding
Hold-
the breath. for
maybe the
15
hold
minutes.
the
The
breath.
15-minute breath holding is pretty awesome.
That is
I
badass.
would like that a lot.
now there's feat Dungeon Delver, and that gives you resistance to traps.
I would love to hear you and Anthony have a discussion on that ability.
So
The 15-minute thing, yeah,
Yeah,
because
he's
he's
gonna
like, it's
tell
the
you how-
worst thing ever. It's
bullshit.
bullshit. Yeah,
and I think it's cool.
yeah.
So I would say, what about like a Dungeon Delver reskinning the Dungeon Delver feat to say instead of resistance to traps, which is very useful, resistance to poisons, and then maybe strip away some of the other things.
Oh,
and-
dude, I
so they
kind
could take a
of.
feat.
I have a
certain
feat
point.
design thing for like a master poisoner sort of concept, which I was hoping at some point we'll do a video about. So
Oh, cool.
kind of along that line of giving you resistance to poison and some other things.
Yeah, so I mean, a feat is definitely an in-game purchase. In a sense, you're using instead of getting stat bumps or another feat that's in the game, you're saying, can I get this one ability as a feat? And I use Dungeon Delver as an example because it has a similar mechanic in it of resistance to something like traps. Poison's not everywhere, so it's not as awesome as like resistance to some other type of damage, but it goes along with that same theme. So
Resistance to poison is pretty good.
it is good.
It's
yeah.
the second most common damage in the game, I think, next to fire.
All right. I haven't been poisoned much at all in any of the games, so I'm just kind of like thinking about
That's because you haven't had me murder your character with a flock of flying snakes.
Not yet.
flying snakes.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Well, you don't
anyway.
get any saves for that. That's just straight damage.
That is straight down.
So that is
resistance
nice.
would come into
Yes,
play.
Resistance would really help for that.
Dwarves laugh at that. They milk them for the flavor of their beverages.
Instead of hops.
Yeah.
Hops.
Nice. Someone remembering that GM 911. PC can't make that. No. So it's a lot of the comments are kind of like answering the questions too. So we appreciate the help, guys.
There we go.
Very good stuff.
Keeping it active there.
So are we gonna talk some of our regular rap stuff today?
We could absolutely do that.
So later on today we should be hitting the 25K hopefully.
Hopefully.
Or tomorrow.
Or tomorrow or the next
This
day.
this
So
weekend. I
that
think.
being said,
This
we
week
normally
we'll certainly-
release 10 videos during the week, but we had overreached a little bit, and we thought we were certain that by Friday we would have hit 25K, but we failed miserably and did not. We were like, last time I checked, we were like 39 away,
Right.
Yeah.
or something like that. So we only released 9 videos.
We're within
So-
striking distance.
So you 90 some odd people that are watching, go get another Google account and then subscribe
No,
to
don't
our
do
channel.
that. God damn it. That is the most worthless advice ever. Why would you
Because-
tell them to do that?
Because all that's gonna do is
It's just
like
say the number. I'm
Yeah.
joking. I'm joking, of course.
yeah, we want real hardcore subscribers.
Yeah, we want people that are actually going to
so
watch.
what we want you to do is we want you to share it with all the people, share our stuff with all the gamer friends that you know, get them hooked on our channel because we're awesome. But when we hit 25K, we're doing a giveaway, and there's a video that talks about it. So
So if you want to see that video, you need to find.
Find friends that aren't subscribed to us that like tabletop gaming and get them to subscribe so we can give it away.
right. But speaking of other giveaways, we have
What do we have?
our next giveaway for just our monthly giveaway. We are gonna give away a board game. So thanks to the people over at Cool Mini or Not, we've got Xenoshift Onslaught.
Are you sure it's not Eno Hift?
I'm fairly certain it's Xenoshift.
It looks pretty cool. It looks like a sort of aliens versus space marines sort of thing happening, like as of the Aliens movie series. So
So
Pretty
good
swanky looking.
stuff there. So we'll draw a name first week in January, and some lucky winner will.
some
Yeah,
lucky
look at
schmo. Some lucky Patreon or person that mailed us an envelope with their
Worth
Entry.
mentioning is, obviously if you're a patron, you're automatically entered to win the prizes. But if you're not, we have a mail-in option that you can find over on nerdarchy.com in our menu titles. There's a section for contests and stuff like that and how to enter them. And don't forget, because we did have a little issue with the post office. We kind of pissed them off a little bit because we didn't actually do anything wrong, but people who are sending in their entries weren't putting
Monarchy. They were just sending it to the PO box.
they there was no send to name.
Right.
So
right.
I don't know if you guys remember back when we were in grade school and we had to do mock envelopes. There had to be the address and you had to send it to somebody. It's
Well, I
just
guess
like
that could be added on to the PO box address, like Nerdarchy
Well,
PO
it's
box.
Nerdarchy PO Box 534, Woodbury, New Jersey 08096.
It
Yes.
could have happened because someone neglected when they filled out the custom form to put that it should go to a person. I don't know who did that.
All that matters is it's fixed now, and the massive flood of people sending in stuff for the cruise is done and over with.
Cruise, you say?
Cruise.
Yes, the
Yes.
cruise.
Wasn't a massive flood? I didn't really think that many people had actually.
I
sent
was
It
at
was
least
a good
100 of
amount,
them.
Yeah.
really physical mailings. I was
Oh,
completely ignorant of this.
No, yeah, it was a nice stack.
There you go.
There's definitely people that spent more money on envelopes and stamps and paper and printing and ink than they would have for the dollar entry.
Of
For
being
sure.
a Patreon.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we had said that there's a limit to the number of things that you can send in, and like there were times where I'm like, all right, you're past the qualifications here.
You
So
met the
I-
limits.
So I've had to shift a bunch of them off. It's like, all right, they hit the 4. I can't add you anymore.
And by the way, guys, we did hear back from Matthew Mann. He's on board.
He's on the ship.
Well, he's not there yet, but he's
He's bored. He went freeboot and pirate on that, and yeah, he's there.
He's stowing away, waiting
to the
for us.
side.
But he replied. He's got his cabin set, and
He's got his three people to bring along with him.
you know,
He probably made really happy.
Yeah, that's
despite
awesome.
the fact that he's like, is this a scam?
Yeah,
He's
at
trying to
first-
get away
first-
from him.
yeah. If I like had the timestamp, like here's where we called you out for the winning the thing and all. So
Yeah.
So it's pretty
Nigerian prince.
yeah,
So-
He wants you to go on a cruise.
it's the next level Nigerian prince scam. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But for those of you guys that still might want to go on the Fantasy Cruise Comic-Con at Sea with Nerdarchy, you still can. And promo code Nerdarchy gets you a 10% discount. We'll be there. We're going to be gaming. There's going to be all kinds of cool stuff going on. It's going to be a blast. Last time I checked, they still had some cabins available, but they said they were running out. You know, I don't know if that was like the salesy thing or, you know, they're really running out.
Could be.
I'm hoping that they fill the boat. I'm eager and excited to go have this vacation. Go do some games. Hopefully, you guys out there will be getting on board as well, so we can game with you guys.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a bunch of cool, videos and pictures and stuff to bring back with us. Or maybe we'll just be like, you know,
It was cool.
we're having too much fun. We're not going to do any work.
That's not true. We're going to do work. It's going to happen.
So-
just like with all of our giveaways and sweepstakes, YouTube's not sponsoring it or anything like that. It's actually either sponsored by the people who give us the stuff, or we buy it ourselves to give away to you,
Correct.
to you guys. So.
Correct. So the board game that we're giving away, that was from, as I said, Cool Mini or Not. The cruise, they gave it the fantasy people. They gave us one to give away.
Yeah, so it was really cool to be able to pass it on to you guys.
So speaking of giving, do you guys want to show off what was given to us today?
Oh yeah, we did.
Ooh.
That did happen too.
So if you look, our chairs have been embroidered, or sort of. There's
There's like a removable.
It's a
back.
removable section, but we now have official Nerdarchy chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will create a table quake, and the mic will probably go flying if Ted and Nate get
Yeah,
off.
we're
But
just gonna stay.
it was a really cool
It's on
gift
all of
from
them.
Ted's wife to Nerdarchy. We really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For the sweet. Her embroidering work is fantastic. She definitely has proficiency in those artisan's tools.
Yes, it came out really well. And then she's like, well, first of all, we came downstairs and all the chairs were covered, the backs were covered, and I was kind of like, I hope she didn't do anything permanent in case people don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then she's like, I put it on the sleeve, Velcro sleeves, so in case you guys don't like it, you can take it off.
And like, excellent, good.
Yeah.
Which was a good
But-
call on her part, but she did an amazing job.
Yeah,
and
the
it would've
work
been fine.
is fantastic. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a behind the scenes work that has been happening, and like she's been trying to get she was getting the logo from me, and like iteration after iteration, and I'm like, what is she doing? And I'm thinking this, and I'm thinking that, and she's not giving me any kind of clues. And eventually, she's like, well, Nerdarchy's going to get a gift at some point in time. So
In the future.
So I had told her this morning before I was taking my daughter to a dance recital that I'm like, well, today's the last day before Christmas that Nerdarchy is going to be all gathered together. So she's like, crap, I should get that done beforehand. So she went up and, finished getting it, and she starts loading up the stuff, and it's like, all right, well, I'm going to keep everything covered. I want you guys to all be able to see it at once. And I'm like, all right. And I'm getting nervous about what she did, because I'm like, why are they on the chairs?
Mhm.
And I wasn't putting two and two together about the logos and the chairs. I'm like,
So apparently we went live at the same time as Drunken and Dragons. Who knew? Bad
no.
time. But you're here commenting, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for staying.
they got
Up here is
they
Drunken and Dragons.
got two windows open.
Oh, yeah,
maybe.
They're double nerding. It's you always want to be cautious when you're drunken dragoning and double nerding.
It's like when you're Netflixing on your computer because you're playing a game and it's loading. And you're like, oh, okay, I'll watch a few minutes.
Yeah. So we had a couple people that keep asking the same question. And I feel like we've answered this one too. And they wanted to know our favorite class for 5e D&D.
We've done some videos on it.
Yeah. And we've also answered it in other live stuff too.
You got Rogue, Cleric, Wizard,
Dwarf.
Dwarf. That's his favorite class.
Yeah, it's my favorite race, favorite class.
Yeah. I'm a dwarf. Who's the dwarf? Who dwarves?
Yeah.
I don't know whether you've actually got a favorite class.
I really don't. For one of the biggest problems is over the years I've done so much DMing that I don't get enough time to play the characters. But I don't really think I do. I just have a character that I like playing, and
You favorite characters as opposed to favorite classes.
yeah, I've done in the past fighters, druids. Druids has always been pretty high on there. I kind of like the nature warrior classes. For 5e, I still want to play a barbarian, and now we have a bunch more options with Unearth Arcana. So
Oh yeah.
I kind of want to play the barbarian that just dies over and over again.
Yeah, that's cool.
I like that guy. He's kind of cursed. He's cursed and blessed at the same time.
Yeah, you go with barbarian and either revenant or half orc.
Yeah.
That'd be solid.
That would be pretty sweet. So with that, guys, we got a bunch of work to still get done yet today. So we're going to wrap this up. But thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Thank you to the Patreons. Thank you to everybody who watches our videos regularly.
Check out all the links down below. It's the holiday seasons. If you're still doing any last minute shopping, any purchases you make on Amazon, if you do it through our link, we're going to get a small portion of it. And that helps to make all of our upgrades and things that we want to do here.
I know that puts a bee in the bonnet of the local flags people, but some people don't have a local flags to go to, or your local flags just
wait.
sucks.
I also want to say on the Amazon front, you don't have to buy gaming stuff from Amazon. You could buy dog food, so you don't have to buy any gaming supplies. If you use that link, whatever you buy on Amazon, it supports us. If you're so inclined to do it, please do.
So there's that. So guys, until next time,
Stay nerdy.
Buying dog food.
To close up. Vein, we did our first sponsored review for Triniton. It's a pretty cool game. The concept's interesting. Guys, we'd really appreciate it if you went and either checked out the article, watched the video, whatever, look at it, give some feedback. If it's not your cup of tea, no problem. Don't worry about having to purchase anything. But what we would appreciate, if you want to support the channel, when we do stuff that is sponsored, just go check it out. Throw a like on it, share it. Maybe one of your friends will be into it. We're going to try and give honest reviews, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Not even try. We will give honest reviews.
Well, yeah, we will give honest reviews. Some things we might just pass on because we just don't feel like it's a good fit for our audience. Does that cover it?
Yeah, I think that covers it. But yeah, we'll be always blunt about the disclosure of saying sponsored on it because I think it's only right.
Check out the video. Check out the article. It's a great game, and you can take some of the stuff that's in there and pour it into other RPGs, which is why I think it's such a fantastic product.
Crickets, chirp, chirp,
Yeah.
chirp.
Dead air.
So I'm gonna
And I believe we are live. Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, 4 nerds, by nerds, hanging out with these nerds.
Nathan Nerdark.
Ted.
Marcus Ryan coming to you live from an undisclosed bunker in southern New Jersey. Here we go.
So we had mentioned this in this fantasy giveaway that we wanted to start this new segment that we do weekly and we do live. I don't know if we'll always be able to do it where we all get together, or the time might change to a little bit later in the afternoon on Saturday. But right now, that is our objective. We are calling it Nerdarchy's Quests and Adventures.
Yeah, yep. So this way we can fold in a little bit of Q&A, maybe stuff that comes through that's not quite enough content to do a full-fledged video on, but maybe it's enough that we can just fire off 3 or 4 of them at a shot, and then also kind of fold in the weekly wrap-up.
Right, and I'd like to say hello to Embershade Innkeeper, John Martin, Gillifrey 10011.
001.
We give a shout out to Ty Johnson, our now new content manager for the website. He took things over on Wednesday, and I think he's doing a bang up job. We've actually managed to figure out the bumps and the issues,
The hurdles.
yeah. And we've managed.
I did notice we had a special edition, early and late double feature Friday.
We did.
For articles on the website.
Well, because we had an extra post for the lovely people over at Triniton.
Yes.
So
It threw
both
things up.
both the Thursday and the Friday authors were like, well, I still want to get my post out. So what's going to wind up happening? So
Did they combine and form Voltron?
there was no combining and forming. Of
No
Voltrons.
blazing sword?
No blazing swords.
Yeah. So do we have
Blazing
any?
Shield.
Do we have any quest and adventures or Q&A, as we might put it?
We got people chatting over there, but they're not asking questions.
What about stuff that was pulled from
Oh,
various
Well,
sources?
we do have some things. This is it's a bit off topic, but do you guys play with the flanking rules, or what variant rules do you play with?
So this is from Devorlo, Devorlo.
Like, for
Devorlo,
instance, right now,
yeah.
both me and Ted flank Nate, and we could be ganking. No, the advantage, the shared advantage.
Yeah, I mean, and the shared advantage makes those new fighter archetypes from the Unearthed Arcana substantially better, because you can trade in that advantage for an extra swing on Nate. If you want.
Yes, you absolutely could.
Yeah.
We have not played with we have not used the flanking rules.
Yeah.
I like the idea that flanking gets you some advantage because coming from LARPs, Ted and I think can both agree at 2 versus 1, it's a
It's
tough
challenging.
spot to be in, being that one.
Yeah, the really tough part about 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons is the lack of gradation in a lot of the mechanics.
Mhm.
But at the same time, when you start putting that in there, you get back to Pathfinder or 3rd edition,
Yeah.
where you have the endless pluses.
Right. Well, the situation is combat is fluid, and while when you do play with minis, things are very static. Like, okay, I get to this position.
Binary breakdown 0, 0,
Keith
1, 2,
Smith,
0, 0, 1.
Harrison Mooney, X Arkin, Dan Estep. You guys are awesome for showing up on such short notice.
Early arrival crew, check in.
So,
Yeah.
as always, when we do our weekly wraps, we always put our links to all the stuff down below. So, if you want to support Nerdarchy, there's a whole bunch of ways to do it down there. There's links to RPG related Kickstarters, as well as all the articles on nerdarchy.com, and links to all the videos for our YouTube channel.
I mean, the website is Verticals for Nerdicals. So, and also, too, I should point out that we started doing a thing with the channel page. Like, if you go to the Nerdarchy main YouTube channel, they're like, all those links off to the side are like things that you could support Nerdarchy. So if you get stuff from Drive-Thru RPG, you can, if you click through there first, your purchases, a small portion of it will support Nerdarchy, or even there's an Amazon link. So
Correct.
this way, if you click through there before you shop at Amazon, we could earn a small commission on, if you buy that flat screen TV or a mech.
Yeah, every little bit helps. Also, along that